Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah. It's a spring April day out. It's very rainy, very overcast. It actually looks like it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon here right now. Not as windy as they said it was going to be, but it's super soaked outside, so I will not be riding outside today. Actually woke up today feeling pretty kind of tired. Just overall tired, not like fatigue in my legs. Just feeling like I'm not catching up on rest. I don't know if I just didn't sleep well last night. I kind of woke up naturally today, so I'm not sure what's going on, but probably going to do a little bit of strength work. Maybe I'll do a quick warm-up on the bike today. But I thought, considering today was going to be a bit of a down day, I would talk about some of the supplements that I use, just kind of take you over to my little supplement toolbox over there and let you know what I use specifically for cycling, get your guys' opinions, let you know my opinions on some of the stuff that I've used intermittently. So I'll get started with that and then begrudgingly get myself engaged in a workout. Okay, so this is my little bit of a vitamin supplement station, a little bit of a hack setup that I came with a little under 2 years ago just to kind of save space. You can see there's a number of supplements in here, and the amount of bottles it would take to kind of house these supplements would take up a lot of space. So I bought one of these, which is just basically a little nuts and bolts organizer, and I dumped the bottle in there. Sometimes with the larger quantities or things I don't take all the time, things that I rotate in, I might like leave a little desiccant pack in there to help keep moisture out because it is in my bathroom. But it does keep everything pretty dry. I don't really have any issues with any kind of spoilage or dampness inside the vitamins, but might be a good idea if you have a lot of supplements or things that you rotate in and out of your repertoire. So I'm just going to kind of go through what I have in here, what I use, what I think about it, kind of the frequency with which I use these things, get your opinions, see what you guys think, give my opinions on what I'm working with here. I'm not going to get uber scientific with some of this stuff. There's a lot of articles on a lot of these things that you can go ahead and read on your own. I'll link whatever probative data I can find that I think might be helpful in the show notes. But I'm just going to start at the top and kind of work my way down and let you know. Some of these supplements I use for cycling. Some of them I use just as a vegan. Some of these I use as a person who lives in the Northeast and doesn't always have access to the highest quality nutritional produce and things like that just because of our growing season. So I'll just kind of talk about those things as I go through. So first in the upper left-hand corner, this is melatonin starting to wear off. I actually use this a lot. I'm out right now. But this is one of those things that, you know, it's kind of like a sleep aid. Well, it is a sleep aid, but it's not like a non-habit forming. It's just a supplement for what your body naturally produces when it goes into its sleep cycles. It just kind of helps you fall asleep naturally, makes you feel tired enough to fall asleep so you're not tossing and turning. So it's kind of... it's a good thing to have in the repertoire here. There's a couple different dosages of them. I think there's like 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams. And it doesn't make you wake up feeling groggy, but it is something I would recommend if you're going to use it. Make sure you've got at least 7 hours, maybe 6 hours to devote to sleep. Don't be taking this when you're going to get 4 hours of sleep that night because you might wake up feeling a little tired or get a little melatonin hangover. The next thing here is magnesium citrate. I've talked about this in a video before about my supplementation of magnesium. The episode I had with PVCs with my heart or premature ventricular contraction. This is a very highly absorbable form of magnesium. It's something that I always have on hand. A lot of time I'll take it at night. Sometimes I'll kind of go through like a binge period where I'll take them nightly in high dosages and I'll kind of back off because this is one of those things that can be stored a little long term in your system. It's not kind of like use it, you lose it, like glucose or something in the bloodstream. Here we've got some vitamin D, a couple different dosages. I also have a 5,000 up here. Vitamin D is one of those things that if you're not eating a whole lot of foods fortified specifically with vitamin D, and then specifically as a vegan, I'm not taking in the meat with the vitamin D in it or dairy that's fortified. It's something that is good to have in the bank. It's good to be tested for vitamin D no matter who you are because there are plenty of vitamin D deficiencies on there regardless of your diet. And then in this area where we don't see the sun for several months out of the year, the angle is too low to be conducive to actual absorption. It's something good to have. A lot of people in my area are vitamin D deficient regardless of their diet just because of our our relationship to the sun here in the northern hemisphere, and specifically here in the US. Here I've got iron. I've never been iron deficient. I've never had a low iron test, never been anemic, but it's something that I kind of have in here as a just in case, especially when I'm at the height of my training. If I'm not getting large amounts of iron in, I might just kind of take one of these as a prophylactic measure, you know, once a week or something like that. Be careful with this type of stuff. If you take it on an empty stomach, it could actually cause you some stomach discomfort, especially a 65 milligram dose. It's actually kind of a high dosage. That's why I kind of only take it once a week, if that. And that's really only where I'm breaking down my body more, and I could be breaking down my iron stores a little bit more than I can take them in. This here is BetaAlanine. You may have heard this before. This is a commonly used supplement in sport. It's kind of akin to taking a creatine. It helps with your muscular performance and your high end and things like that. It's also renowned for the kind of tingling feeling that it gives you. It's almost like if you've taken a niacin supplement before, it gives you kind of almost like a flushing, tingly feeling. There's nothing wrong with that. It's supposed to be that way. It could be off-putting the first time you take it, but it is something that kind of helps build, if you use it over time, builds your high end. I also have this up here. This is Betadine, which is very similar in the way that it works. It helps in the metabolism of choline. This is one of those things that you take. It's specific to your high-end power mostly. This isn't like an endurance supplement. This is something that's supposed to kind of, you know, your sprint power can improve, or your high-end power is going to be more effective. It doesn't help your cardiorespiratory response to those things that you got to do on your own. This just helps your muscles' capacity to handle that high-end power. So these two are very similar in that regard. Calcium, that kind of goes without saying. I get a lot of calcium in terms of the fruits and vegetables and things that I take in, but you know, every once in a while it's kind of one of those things where you feel your diet might be lacking, or you kind of ate like shit this week, maybe something to throw in the tank. Vitamin E, I actually started taking some of these. I have some scars from an accident, so this is kind of one of those things. Vitamin E is kind of good for healing, especially specific to skin, hair, nails, things like that. So nothing specific to cycling, just kind of one of those things. It's inexpensive. You throw it in there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. This is just straight magnesium. I kind of already talked about magnesium, but this is just it's not quite as absorbable as like maybe a citrate or an oxide is, but it's there. It works. This is just kind of a general green supplement. I found this at Trader Joe's. Just kind of supercharge your greens in a small little package. So I don't remember what the heck it's called, but it is from Trader Joe's. It was maybe $15. This is L-carnitine. See, this is kind of what I mean. I put the little desiccant packet in there. L-carnitine is just kind of a help with a boost of energy and metabolism. You know, kind of gets you going type of thing. Again, one of those things that maybe I rotate in. If you use it every day, it kind of loses its effectiveness. But you know, when I start to rotate it, I can kind of feel it when I use it. This is just kind of a thyroid supplement. I haven't repurchased this since. There's one left in here. I don't really have thyroid issues, but it was something that I had seen recommended in an article once. I don't know if I noticed any difference, but it's there, so I figured I'd explain it. This is just a B-complex vitamin, good for heart health. Again, it was one of those things that I bought when I was trying to figure out everything going on with my heart. I figured I wanted to give myself any edge that I could. This is CoQ10 supplements. There's a lot of research on CoQ10. This is not really, my cat's yelling. This is not really specific to cycling. This is just more, you know, brain health, heart health. It's just an all-around good supplement. It is expensive. Usually they're about 25 bucks a bottle for a good quality CoQ10. But it's in there. Sport legs, I'm sure you guys have seen this or used this before. I think that this works quite a bit. You could simulate this with the breakdown of vitamins within it too, but this is just kind of a one-shot deal. I think you take one of these for every 50 pounds of body weight, if I'm not mistaken, and it just takes that little bit of burn out of your legs. It gets you to push a little harder. You don't back off or wince to the pain quite as quickly. This is EPO Boost and Optogen. I am out of this stuff. Looks like I dumped some multivitamins in there. So EPO Boost and Optogen are made by this company. I don't have the EPO Boost bottle, but it's this. It's completely legal. It's just kind of one of those, you know, gimmicky blood booster drugs type of thing. I've taken these. If you take these regularly, what I do notice is it does help your cardiorespiratory response over time. Like I noticed that I was more tolerant. My heart rate was a little bit lower, you know, during VO2 max level power, even threshold level power. I wasn't breathing as heavily. I was more comfortable even if my heart rate was high. And I was training seriously. You know, I don't know if it was the placebo effect. I will admit that that's a possibility, but I think it did have somewhat of a benefit. Now, you take a lot of these a day. I think you take 4 of these a day, and you take them throughout the day, like at meal times. So you go through a bottle relatively quickly when you're taking them as prescribed by the bottle. And I think it's like a 90 count supplement. No, I'm sorry, 120 count supplement there. So at 4 a day, it's going to last you about a month, and it's not something that you need to run hot with all the time. So that's that. I think you can pick these up on Amazon, couple like maybe Vitamin World, things like that. They're okay. They're specifically targeted to our type of sport, so I've tried them out. I think that they work pretty well. I wouldn't say that they're game-changing, but they're noticeable. This is Ultra Mega. I'm actually out of it. This is just GNC's Ultra Mega Women's Multivitamin, kind of one of those things. Again, you're in the time of the year that you're not eating everything that you should. You know, you kind of reach for a multivitamin. This is, I didn't label this yet. I can't remember what the heck the name of that is. I know what it is too. I've got it written down. One of those things that I purchased for, again, for heart health. This isn't cycling specific. Now I'm going to forget what it's called, and I got to go look in my book, and I'll tell you guys in a minute. But I got to go grab a Sharpie and label that. This is vitamin B12. This is an oral vitamin B12. Came in a huge bottle. I supplement with injectable vitamin B12. It's just a subcutaneous injection. You put it in your thigh muscle or some kind of muscular area of the body. I'll show you kind of what I use for that. It's more expensive, but it's more long-term, so you could take it once a month. Or if you're deficient, that you might be taking it, you know, every day for a week, then once a week for a month, then once a month for the rest of whatever, and then kind of an as needed. These are BCAAs, branched-chain amino acids. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this. These aid in recovery, rebuilding the muscles that you've broken down. So those came in a large, I think I bought like a buy one get one free, so I got a big chunk of those. A little extra B12 down here in the bottle. This is just kind of some overflow. So I looked that up. Those are D-ribose supplements. I had them in a chewable and capsule form. So I got to get that labeled up there. And then down here I've got vitamin C, kind of one of those things. Again, I eat a lot of foods rich in vitamin C, but it is something like the calcium to kind of have in the bank so that you have it available to you. Up here, I kind of went through this. The Betadine. I have not tried this yet. This is the Hammer Nutrition Race Day Boost that I bought a few days ago. This one here is Ultra Courtesan. This is VO2 Max supplement. This is kind of, I feel like I would call this the partner product to the sports leg, something you kind of take before, and you know, your heart is more able to handle the VO2 max. So this is kind of supplementing your muscles and numbing you out there, and this is kind of just making your heart and lungs and everything more responsive to VO2 max. I tried this once or twice during a race. I was in good fitness, but I think it gave you that little bit of an edge. So I'll try that more this year. I only tried it at the end of the season last year. This is something that is just kind of an endurance supplement. This is something in capsule form. It's kind of a recovery aid. It replenishes electrolytes and things like that. It's kind of nice thing to have in the bag, especially if you don't have a sport drink, or if you can't stomach the sports drinks, or you're not drinking what you need to. This is kind of a capsule version that I can use either in conjunction with a recovery drink, or kind of on its own. I just bought this. I found this at the end of the year last year at Feel Right. Let's see if plastic song. I think I tried it one time after a long ride, but something that I will probably elaborate on more as the season wears on this year. Alright, so as for my B12 supplementation, I actually found my B12 from a company called Trim Nutrition. This is actually from the first packet that I bought. But they can do a cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin is the most absorbable B12 supplementation. It needs a smaller dosage and less frequently. It's kind of a little bit more long-lasting. So if you ever had B12 deficiency, which is really bad, it's a really bad thing, and it could really screw you up bad. So it's no joke, B12. You know, you can kind of look into taking something like that. So basically what they send you is they send you, look like a junkie. They send you a bunch of needles. So this is the needles that they sent with the original B12 that I bought. You can see how long the end of that is, but it's a very thin needle. So basically what I do is I just kind of sit down and I put it in my thigh. And it's really just a quick pinch, and then you very slowly push the plunger. And sometimes it's actually red, so it's not, you're not bleeding, but sometimes a little bit of, you know, the red liquid might come out. You might get a little bit of like a puffy spot there until you get it absorbed into the muscle, because it's not going into the vein, it's going into the muscle. Occasionally you might get a little bruising if you strike a little bit of a capillary. Again, it's not really a high risk thing, but what I do like is that the last time I ordered it, they offered these here, which are a very small, very thin needle. So look at how tiny that is. I mean, we're talking about a couple of millimeters. To put this in your leg is barely noticeable. I mean, I've probably scratched myself worse than this needle hurts. So they'll give you a number of needles, more than enough that you need for the dosage, and then they'll give you a packet of alcohol wipes. So you basically clean the top of the bottle, you clean the area with the alcohol wipe, and then the pharmacy that Trim Nutrition uses in Power Pharmacy, and they'll actually give you a prescription here. So what you do is you call and you talk to a person. I mean, B12 is not a habit-forming or really a dangerous drug, but they'll just kind of talk to you about, okay, what your B12 needs are, why you're taking B12. And I've told them, I'm a vegan, I'm an athlete, just kind of a prophylactic measure, because I'm not getting, we don't get a lot of B12 in our food unless we go buy something fortified with B12. So then you get a little bit of a vial here, and you're supposed to keep it in the refrigerator. Keeps it good longer. And they'll tell you it's got a pretty short shelf life on it, but you can usually use it after the fact, and even the pharmacist will tell you that. But what you do is you've got a little bit of a soft top, so you clean that with the alcohol swab, and then you stick the needle in the top, and you tip it upside down, and you pull the plunger back, and you kind of fill it. And then you can, remove the excess there. It's not like you don't really risk an embolism because you're not putting it directly in your bloodstream, but you don't want really an air bubble in there. So you just kind of depress the air bubble. But the point is, like when you first get this, you're actually supposed to like pressurize it with a needle. You tip it under, you pull the air out, and then this is kind of airtight in here. So then afterwards, you really shouldn't get any air bubbles unless you start the needle too early. But super easy fix. So I mean, I'll do this periodically. I'll do this, maybe once every month or two. It's a pretty high dosage. So this is 50,000 micrograms. So you're getting a lot of B12 in that. It helps with energy, it helps with metabolism, but really it helps with a lot of really important functions of being alive. So, if you go to your physician, if you go to your yearly physician's visits, especially as an athlete, especially somebody if you're tearing down your body a lot, I'd recommend just asking for a blood test for just the basics. I think that's a lot of times that we miss that. Just anybody, You know, we don't do regular blood tests, and maybe we could catch things earlier, signs of disease, signs of cancer, signs of deficiency. We tend to only go to the doctor and take care of things and get blood tests when we have symptoms of something sinister, but maybe we can kind of head these things off if we get our blood tests early. So that's what I use for vitamin B12. And then I got a couple just little straggler supplements in the refrigerator that I'll show you, not specific to cycling. Just put my stuff back together here and I'll show you those. Okay, so I just got these guys on the side here. This is Mega Flora. This is just kind of for the flora in your gut. It's good, especially if you're not getting a lot of bacteria in your diet, like the good bacteria. Kind of helps create a good environment. This is good for digestive health, heart health, things like that. This is flax oil. Again, very kind of good thing. This is one of the good oils. Has a lot of benefits for heart health, brain health. This is magnesium chloride. This is just kind of a liquid absorbable magnesium supplement. I talked about that in my other video. And then these two back here are actually a liquid L-carnitine. Just a general energy supplement. Tastes like watermelon. They don't taste gross. They're just kind of overtly sweet. And then these back here, these are just kind of powders for shakes. Just kind of like a greens powder and things like that. So get these at Wegmans. This is kind of that is a mackerel powder. This here is, where is it? Wheatgrass powder. And this here is, if I can find it, what the hell does that say? Oh, it's a plant protein powder. So keep those in the refrigerator, and then you can kind of mix them into smoothies and juices and things like that. So that's what's in my little supplement cabinet over there. Those are the things that I used. Most of them are on a rotational basis. A lot of them I will only use in the in-season, unless there's an overt need for using them in the off-season. I think with most things, overuse basically affects the benefits that you receive. You remove the effectiveness, you build a tolerance, if you will. So rotating those in strategic patterns around where you need your peak performance to be is probably the best way to kind of handle any kind of supplementation. So they're all kind of available. They're in their bathroom. I kind of see them every day. It's just kind of a mental cue. Kind of look at it, take stock. And you can see that a lot of the things that I take are just base, like vitamins, amino acids. There's a couple, like the Sport Legs and the Optogen and the Courtesan. There's a couple blends there, maybe gimmicky or sports nutrition specific blends, but most of them have ingredients that are, you know, comprised of just a combination of things I already have. It's just easier to take a one-stop shop kind of capsule than take a number of different ones. But you know, most of that stuff is comprised of pretty natural vitamins, minerals, things that you can find on your own. None of these are really, you know, laced with caffeine, taurine, super high energy type of stuff. It's more just stuff that works in conjunction with your body's natural reserves and whatnot. So if you guys have any opinions on any of those products or have any suggestions for things that you use or any benefits or detriments to things that you use in the past, leave them in the comments below. I think we can all learn from one another. Again, there's something to be said, I guess, for the placebo effect for some of these things. But most of, I think, what I've taken and I've shown you, I have noticed at least some level of discernible difference in taking them versus not taking them if you take them regularly and as prescribed by the instructions. You know, I mean, you take something once, it's not going to be a deal changer for you. But if you take these things, you know, in the quantities and in the regimen that they kind of set forth, you will see a bit of a difference, much with pretty much anything. I don't think any of that stuff is really snake oil type of products. I'm sure we've all been subject to purchasing something that was just a complete you know, waste of money, just didn't work at all, just basically sugar pill type of thing. But that's kind of what I've dialed in for my particular repertoire. Some of those things I use more than others, some of those things I like more than others, but I figured I'd share them. Low-key day today, not much going on for training, don't really want to go outside until I have to because it's just wet and gross out. So I'm going to get a bit of a strength workout in right now, I think. I don't know, maybe I'll get on the bike. I gotta decide. I got like 10 minutes to make that decision. But then I'm gonna get ready for work. The thing I find the most challenging about supplementation is taking supplements with any degree of regularity. So, like I mentioned, the 4-a-days or things that need to be taken at certain times of the day. Remembering to take them when it's too late type of thing. And one of the things that does help is buying one of those like pill boxes that, you know, the elderly have with the days of the week. I have one actually at home that has AM and PM, and then for the 7 days of the week, so I can kind of partition the you know, the different supplements I want to take. So let's say if I'm going to be on like a 4-week regimen and I want to take these particular supplements in the morning and in the evening or what have you, that does seem to help, you know, putting that on hand, throwing that in my backpack and going to work and just kind of knowing it's there and having that cue. What I want to try to do this year is maybe try to set some alarms or reminders on my phone that will kind of push through to my watch, so I'll get that kind of vibration that'll say, oh, you know, time to take, you know, a supplement. It doesn't have to necessarily be extensive. It could just be kind of an alarm, and I'll know in my head that that's what that's for. But if you guys have any tips or tricks to kind of keep you on track in terms of supplementation, or, you know, just kind of taking them, or if you're on any kind of regular medication, things that you need to take, you know, every day. I know a number of people who, you know, admittedly are bad at taking their medication. They forget it all the time. They leave it at home. They forget to take it. They don't take it the way they're supposed to take it. They're supposed to take it with food, and they forget and they don't take it with food. Or they're not supposed to have coffee for another hour, but they can't actually do that because they take their pills too late or things like that. So if you guys have any tips or tricks that you use to kind of keep on track with your kind of supplementation or medication, let me know in the comments below. I feel like the alarm thing might be a good addition. You know, pack up my little pill box there, throw it in my bag, and then use the alarm system while I'm at work, because I'm busy. I'm always moving around. It's not like I'm sitting around waiting. Oh, okay, I'm gonna take my medication in an hour, my vitamins in an hour. So let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Hey, look, shitbags who don't know how to park and snow. All right, home again. You can see the snow out there, so we're looking at about 24 hours of just sloppy, wet snow, because it's not particularly cold outside. But after that, this, I think Saturday is supposed to be cold but sunny, and then Sunday and Monday are going to be close to 70, so getting into some spring-like weather next week, so it's cool. Some intermittent rides outside, I can live with that. But in any event, I'm going to go to bed. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.